There are entrepreneurs, and then there are God tier levels of entrepreneurs of productivity where all 8 and 9 figure entrepreneurs operate. In this video, I'm going to cover the tier list of productivity when it comes to entrepreneurs. All the way at the bottom of the tier list are civilians, just normal guys who work hard. And at the top of the list is the God tier. The God tier represents you to your absolute full potential. And along this sliding scale is, the bottom of the barrel, what most people are, and then at the middle, what some advanced people are, like upper level entrepreneurs, baby entrepreneurs. At the top is what represents what you could become when you hit villain tier and God tier. Levels of focus, levels of mindset mastery, of shedding the old skin, of killing your old self, and really hitting Maslow's hierarchy of needs of full transcendence, right? That's what we're going to cover in this video. I'm also going to cover how to work 12 hours a day uninterrupted because it's all the same thing. It all comes down to calibrating your consciousness. Can you step into the consciousness of the person that has what you want right now? And can you operate like them right now? Like you don't want to think, how can I make better habits? How can I wake up earlier? You're already thinking from the wrong position. If you're thinking, how can I remove this bad habit that I can't get rid of? You're thinking from the wrong frame. The right frame is, the version of myself that already has this, that doesn't even think about that bad habit. How would they operate? What would they think? How would they see the world? And how would they move differently? And that's what you need to do. So if you're an entrepreneur and your long-term or short-term goal is to make anywhere between 100K a month on the super low end to $3 million a month, this video is for you. This is not for people who are happy with 5 or 6K a month online. It's for people who want to dominate and be the Kobe Bryant of their industry, the tip top of levels of productivity, and really want to achieve their dream life and everything that they're capable of in this life. And their soul, their heart is telling them, you could do more. There is more to achieve. There's more that I could do. You might just feel lost, like you don't know exactly what direction to go in, but deep down inside, there's another level that you could be crushing it and dominating at. And when you're doing that, that's when you're the happiest. That's when you're the most fulfilled. It's not necessarily when you're just working hard. And again, this isn't about working hard. Like there's a lot of people who work really hard and they don't get anywhere. It's about optimization and being the best version of you. So when I pull up the tier list, right, like Sam Ovens, Alex Becker, Hermosi, Iman Gaji, Charlie Morgan, and Cole Gordon, there's a ton of other people I'm not mentioning. They're in this Tony Robbins. I forgot the other guy who made the brand book. The guy who made Crushing It, I forgot his name, whatever. But there's all these amazing, and there's so many more. Like there's a lot of people there, but they're very rare, and they represent the top 1% of the top 1%. They're like the elite of the elite. If you could at least get to the villain tier, the villain tier is where you reach transcendence, and I'll talk about this. So give me like 15 minutes to break it down, because my goal for you right now, entrepreneur, is walk away tomorrow. You can implement some of this and get started and get better and get better and get better. So you're at the point where you're already here in these top 2 tiers, and you're already a millionaire. You're already making 100K a month. In that case, I want to bring you inside our inner circle, and I want to be friends with you like personally, because I want to surround myself with people just like you. So again, let's break down the video. Here are the 6 productivity tips. Again, guys, whatever goal that you have right now, I always say this in every video, but it's so key, it's so crucial. Your goals are secondary. If you want to do X, Y, Z, like even if it's a goal that's not money related, it's not business related, even if your goal is to have an amazing social circle, that goal is secondary. What's always primary is like the most important goal is who do you have to become so that every other goal is irrelevant. That's the main thing. That's like the primary. So if your goal is 100K a month, on the low end, then like that's not the goal. That's just where you're going. That's where you're aiming. What you have to focus on is who you have to become to easily get there, and what actions do you have to take every single day, and who do you have to surround yourself with, and who do you have to hire to be able to get there consistently. That is what it comes down to. That's the most important thing. Okay, so if you can consistently hit these top 2 levels, you can do anything. You can get a 6-pack, you can get raped, you can get shredded, you can do whatever you want, because at that point, the world is in your hands, the world is in your palm. And you have to start operating like that right now. You can get more done in a few hours, and most people get done in a few weeks. So that's super, super crucial and super important. So let's talk about the six levels, okay? And I want you to be honest, like which one are you? Don't fool yourself, like which one are you? And let me go into this so you can see what the differences are and where you rank among them. So at the bottom of the list, bottom of the barrel, we have a regular civilian, okay? A regular civilian. Nothing wrong with this, right? But you know, they sit to work when they feel like it. Um, they work when they're motivated, and they're super inconsistent with everything. A lot of distractions, and they have terrible beliefs. They just adopt the beliefs of the people around them. And then we have the baby entrepreneur. This is probably not you if you're watching this, right? Or at least this one, the baby entrepreneur. Who you're still trying to balance, like being a civilian with an entrepreneur, and then things get done, like you get things done, but let's be real, they're all over the place. There's no system, there's no routine, and everything is just extremely messy all of the time. That's most entrepreneurs, okay? That's probably like 60% of entrepreneurs are right there. And then there's the average entrepreneur, and these people are productive, but they don't work with enough urgency, right? They're productive, they get things done, but there's not a sense of urgency. Like if you want to take this to the extreme, think of Elon Musk building SpaceX to go to Mars. We have to build to Mars because who knows, there might be a World War III, or like the sun might explode, or just some crazy stuff. Like there's a lot of urgency there, right? But the problem with this entrepreneur is they don't get into deep focus work. There's still a lot of distractions. There's way too many priorities, and there's a lot of low level tasks. So there's a lot of putting out fires instead of working on the business, and they're working in the business. And that's a problem. And to the next level, now this is where you start to make a lot of money. The upper level entrepreneur, again, there might be a few of you who are already here, but there's more to this, okay? These people, they're extremely productive, okay? They're very productive, they're successful, but their villain always kicks their ass. And I'll talk about what that means in a second because I've explained it in other videos. They're productive, but their villain is always kicking their ass. And deep down, you know that you could be doing more. That's the upper level entrepreneur. Now, the villain tier is where you hit transcendence. Okay, this is where like you start to really become elite, and people in your industry, they start to fear you. And this is where you start making like 200, 300, 400K a month plus. And the villain tier is when you're consistently matching your villain in levels of output. Now, your villain represents who you could become. Your villain represents the absolute best version of you. So if you start matching your villain, meaning like every single day, or 5 days out of the week, almost every single day, you are literally hitting like the levels of productivity that you could possibly hit, and you're beating that version of you every single day. That is where the magic happens, okay? Because it's not you put one in, you get one out. You put 5 in, you're gonna get 50 out. The more you put in, the more you put out. It's an exponential curve. So if you're able to transcend yourself and become this villain, beat your villain and hit the villain tier. Now, what does that mean? Let's compare these two because this is really important. The upper level entrepreneur, super productive. They're like, their life's in order. They're organized. Like things are going super well. But deep down, they know they could be doing more. So that's the issue with the upper level entrepreneur. Now, once you hit the villain tier, that means you're doing as well as you possibly can. Your routine is fully optimized. Your sleep, your diet, your exercise, you're shredded. You're in amazing shape. When you walk by, people stare at you. People look at you. Your skin is just glistening. It's glowing. Like you're doing everything to the absolute best that you can do it, and you're matching that person, or even sometimes surpassing what you thought was possible of doing in a day. Once you hit that level, guys, like it doesn't matter if you wanted 100K a month. It doesn't matter what the business model is. So what I'm saying is this is primary. This should be the primary goal. Again, we have accountability coaching to get you to this level and ensure that you're operating at this level, because if you can make it a habit to operate there, nobody's going to stop you. But let's continue, because there is one more level above this, and it's tough, guys. It's tough. Once you've been operating and basically the way you get to God tier is it takes about 2 to 3 years. So when you're in the villain tier, meaning you're matching or you're beating your villain, congratulations. Like you've reached levels that most people will never reach. Once you hit the God tier, it's because you've been doing that for about 2 to 3 years. Okay. And at that point, you've turned your villain, the best version of you, into a ragdoll. You turned it into your bitch. At that point, you're so ahead. You're basically levitating over other people. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but your results are 1,000x what other people's are. If you take someone like Sam Ovens or Hormozy, their results are literally 1,000x what other people's results are because they've been doing this for so long. They've been matching their villain's level of output for such a long time. They're basically at the god tier, and that's where I want to get you. That's the people that I want to surround myself with. I want to have this amazing community of people, friends that they're just crushing it and dominating. That's what our accountability service is focused on. But once you hit that level where every single day you've turned your villain into your bitch, you've turned it into a rag doll, you're operating at your 100% every single day. And again, you take some time off, you have vacations, you have you have a normal life. You're not a robot, you're not like a soulless being, but you're able to do that and maintain the god tier levels of productivity, accountability, mindset. Guys, it doesn't matter. Like 3 million a month is gonna be a joke. Like you think, like how would Hormozy feel if he was making 3 million a month? You would think he would be disgusted. He was making that like 10 years ago, right? How would any of these people on this list feel? Like how would Iman Gaji feel? He was making 3 million a month. He'd feel like, what the fuck? Things are not like what am I doing wrong? There instantly would be a red light because these people are so like they've transcended themselves. They've destroyed that old version so many times. They feel like there's nothing that they can't achieve. That's where you need to get to, and that's what this video is about. So be honest. Where are you right now? Like, don't lie to yourself. You can lie to me, but you can't lie to yourself. Where are you right now? Are you an upper level entrepreneur, average, or baby entrepreneur? Because you're probably not here. Otherwise, you'd be making like at least $3 million a year. Okay. Now, James Allen once said, and in the book As a Man Thinketh, he said, men are anxious to improve their circumstances. Okay. Men are anxious to improve their circumstances, but they are unwilling to improve themselves. They therefore remain bound. Think about that. Let that sink in. People want to change their circumstances, but they don't want to improve themselves. Therefore, they're fucked. They're stuck. They're bound. A lot of people are like, you know what? I want to change my life. I want to do this. I want to do that. But they don't want to change anything about themselves. They don't want to change their habits. They don't want to change their routine. They don't want to implement the things in this YouTube video. They don't want to, you've been watching it, so we're 12 minutes in. Congratulations. You're ahead of most people because you know this is so important. You know, if you stay operating as an average entrepreneur, you're never going to get your dream life. If you stay operating as an upper level entrepreneur, it's not really going to cut it either. You need to at least break into the villain tier and just be the best version you can be. Okay? After years of doing that, then everything will fall into place. You can't achieve your dream life unless you're willing to, to improve yourself. So here are some God tier characteristics. And this is what I want to talk about, what all these people have in common with their God tier characteristics. Again, don't get hung up on the name. I know I'm using God here, but like again, it's just whatever you want to call it. You might be able to rename these if you want to use names that inspire you more, whatever. I don't care. It doesn't really matter. The point is you understand what I'm trying to say. These people, they transcend the collective. This is super, super important. People that operate under this level, they transcend the collective. What does that mean? That means belief-wise, they only have helpful, inspiring beliefs. Like these people, they're so in sync with how their mind operates. They're on a different level. Billionaires are fantastic at this. Like for example, if the collective believes that there's a recession, this is a very basic example, right? But if the collective believes there's a recession happening, you know, someone on this level, they believe whatever is suitable for them. It doesn't matter if it's right, it doesn't matter if it's wrong. It only matters if it's going to help them, right? Like let's say you're starting a YouTube channel, right? And people say, "Oh, that's dead. Like you should have done that 10 years ago. It's dead now." That's not a belief that would help people. That would help, this person. So they don't believe that shit, obviously. Okay? They have an amazing vision for their future. This is something that they all have in common. Like again, it's something we talk about on this channel constantly. And once you join our accountability service, like we have you map out your vision. You probably already have one, but you want to be able to read it and look at it every single day in the morning so that you feel inspired in the morning. You feel like even if you have 10% more energy, that energy is going to last you throughout the day because you have your vision subconsciously like on the back end of your mind, right? You want to be able to set a goal that you can't achieve in this lifetime. Ted Turner's dad, when he passed away, the founder of CNN, he left him a quote that said, set goals that you cannot achieve in this lifetime. Okay, make the goals so big that they excite you. They excite you to get you amped up, to get you enthusiastic. All these people, 7, 8 figure, I wouldn't even say 7, 8 and 9 figure entrepreneurs, They have this amazing vision for the future. Because where does all this energy come from? All this enthusiasm, all this energy, it comes from their vision. And you need to have that vision if you're going to be able to be the top 1% of the top 1%. They also live by their own principles. You know, the great book, The Way of the Superior Man by David Data. If you've never read it, you're a man, even if you're a woman, it's a fantastic book. You know, you want to set your own rules for life and you don't want to let others impose their rules on you. So, for example, like one of my personal things, I don't like, this might sound silly to some people, but I don't like holidays in the traditional sense. I don't like holidays where I feel like there's something that I'm supposed to be doing, like Thanksgiving, for example. Again, like I don't like holidays where like if almost like socially there's a social pressure to do something on that particular holiday, even if you don't fucking feel like it. I don't like that shit. So, for example, on Thanksgiving, you're supposed to be with your family. You're not supposed to work. You're not supposed to, you're supposed to be with your family, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem is when society forces their beliefs on you, and you have to be the person that says, you know what, these are my rules. You want to be able to create your own rules in life. So again, people have these preconditioned rules, like you go to college, you buy a house, you get a mortgage, and then you retire. Fantastic, but you want to be able to create your own rules as long as it's not harming anybody else, or obviously illegal or any of that stuff. But you need to be able to set your own rules and determine your own path. Because the path of, you know what, I'm going to be an 8-figure entrepreneur, that's not the normal set of rules. It's not going to work, right? You need to be able to determine what you prioritize in life and what you don't prioritize in life. All of these people do these exact same things. They also have high energy levels. They remove things that don't, by the way, that's the ultimate trait of leadership, is doing whatever the fuck you want to do. They remove things that drain their energy. Sometimes it's not about going to the top, but it's about removing things that are holding you back. So if you take Charlie Munger's inversion principle, if you thought to yourself, if I never wanted to succeed, what would I do? If you never wanted to succeed, you would never be productive with work. You would never have priorities. You would never have a schedule. You'd have terrible sleep, super low energy, terrible diet, no exercise. You'd go to bed really late. Your business would put out mediocre products and services and marketing that doesn't stand out. If you never wanted to be successful, your marketing would just never stand out. It would blend in. It would be the most basic marketing ever. You'd have terrible average person beliefs about money, about success. You would let others dictate and steer your life. Okay, so if you think to yourself, what would guarantee that I fail? Here they are. You would work a job that you hate. You don't differentiate yourself. And all you got to do is invert these. So instead of trying to be successful, just try not to fail. Ironically, and that's really funny. So guys, let's talk about action steps because we're 17 minutes in. Congratulations, like you've done, thank you for watching this video. Sincerely, thank you. Let's put this into action because I don't just want to talk and motivate you and inspire you. I want there tomorrow to be a change in your routine, in something that you do, so that tomorrow you're 30% more effective than you are today. Step 1 is identify where you are. Like in this tier list, like where are you? And there should be a gap between who you are right now and who you have to become to effortlessly achieve your dreams. Because right now you're not on, and again, you might be on pace, but there's always more that you could be doing. All you want to do is match your villain. Like I said, your villain represents your potential. Okay, people's potentials are going to be different. Only you can know deep down what your true potential is. The only thing that you want to do is live up to that potential. So again, your potential might not be working 20 hours a day. That's not possible. But you do have a potential. So what is that for you? You want to be able to determine that. And then you want to be able to live up to it. So you want to identify your villain. The best version of you, what would they do differently? Okay. And I have a daily doc in the description of this video, which you can make a copy. You can fill it out. You can put this on this document so you can read it every single day. Okay. Again, would that person, would they wake up earlier? Would they wake up later? Would they sleep earlier? Like, how would they be operating? If you're right now where you're at your full potential with the constraints you currently have, with the circumstances you currently have, if you operate at your potential, what would that look like? Your diet, what would that look like? You'd have less brain fog. Would you change your diet? Would you drink a green juice every single day? Would you be eating less sugar? How would that work? Your routine. What about your work routine? Would you do 3 hours of work and then take a 1 hour break and then do 3 hours of work and then take a 2 hour break? What would it actually look like? And what would you be prioritizing? Okay. 3 to 5 great habits. What are 3 to 5 great habits that your villain would have? Because Guys, to get to the villain tier, you have to match that version of you. You have to match that version. You have to just like go 1-to-1 and hold your own, if not surpass a little bit what you thought was possible. Okay, and I'll give you an actual game, an actual way to start tracking and start measuring this. How do they relax? Because they do relax, they do take time off, but how do they do it? And how is it different from right now? And their work. Do they have their phone next to them while they're working? Do they have headphones on? Do they have binaural beats? Do they take certain supplements to raise their energy? Do they take cold showers before work to feel more inspired? Again, only you can know the answer. There's no right or wrong answer. Some things are going to work for you, some things are not. Not everybody likes cold showers. Not everybody likes green juice. Not everybody likes waking up early. It depends on you. But you do have a vision, an idea of if you were the best you could be, what would that look like? Some of you guys have like 2 to 3 businesses. Other people have only one. Some people have jobs that they still have to go to. It depends on your unique situation, but you have to be able to morph that into what you could become. Otherwise, you're going to stay stuck. Step 3, start implementing these bit by bit right now. Okay? And I'm going to give you a checklist of how to dominate this tier. And you know what? I almost forgot. There's another step here. And it's do consciousness alignment exercise in the morning. This is really important. This is something that we work with our clients. This might be this is probably the most important thing. And what does that mean? It means in the morning, before you start work, you take a few minutes, you imagine your villain, and you imagine yourself being your villain right now. You imagine being the most productive, successful version of you right now. You get into their reference point, get into their point of view, and you model them. You model their physiology. You talk like they talk. You walk like they walk. You start to view the world like they view the world. Oh, damn, making 10K a month, that's a joke. I can make that in a weekend. That's 2 sales of 5K. That's nothing. You start to think like them, and you start to approach the day as that person, not as the current version of you. We all know Maxwell Maltz and how important it is to have a self-image, a powerful self-image. We all know the power of affirmations. We all know the power of manifestation and that mysticism around manifestation and visualization. That's all valid to some extent. Some of it is kind of out there, but a lot of it is valid. A lot of it does work. The one way to encompass all of that into a single exercise is this: aligning your consciousness to the person that you want to be and imagining that you are that person right now. And having a habit, having an exercise. I can make more videos on this if you guys want. Just let me know. Of okay, I am this person right now. Approach the day as that person. It's almost like you're stepping into a movie character. Okay, oh my god, I forgot his name. Johnny Depp. When he steps into Captain Jack Sparrow, he's stepping into that character. He's stepping into that reference point. At any or Robert Downey Jr., if he steps into Tony Stark, at any given point, because they've practiced that character for so many years, they can just step into that character, think like they think, move like they move, walk like they walk. That's exactly what you want to do. You want to play an actor. That's what you want to do. But act like the best version of you until you just become that person by default. Okay? Here's how to dominate every single tier. The villain tier, you reach the villain tier by beating your villain in a first to 100 days competition. Okay, so what does that mean? And you want to have a tracker, guys, and whether it's your whiteboard or your notebook or whatever, if you need help tracking this, guys, sign up for a free trial accountability service below where you get paired up with a one-on-one coach and they help you do this. They help you operate at your best self. Again, it's cancel anytime, money back guarantee, 7-day free trial, $250 a month. The link will be below for more information. First to 100 days, meaning that, let's say yesterday, did you operate at 100% of your potential yesterday? If the answer is, oh, dude, absolutely, then you're villain 1. Okay, you have 1 for your villain, 0 for you. The first to hit 100 points wins. Again, 100 represents, more than 3 months. But again, you could do this for 150 days and your villain win 50, you win 100, but you still win. Because you're not going to win every single day, and that's okay. But the point is, you actually track it. You're in a competition, in a race, in a war, in a battle for who you could become. And that is critical, and that's vital, and that's so important. That's so important. So, guys, that's how you get to the villain tier. Again, our service, we help you do that. But again, you could do this yourself. You just have to be able to track it and not give up. The God tier is reached after 2 to 3 years of dominating the villain every single day. So after you hit 100, now congratulations, you're at the villain tier, and I have to stay there for like 2 or 3 years. Yeah, it depends on every person. Some people get there quicker, but just to the point where like it's just so ingrained in you, it's so part of your identity that you've reached this level of transcendence where you can now make 5 to 10 million a year easily. So guys, here's how to play the game. You are in your own superhero movie. To beat the villain, you have to become a hero, and that's super exciting. If you want to beat this villain that you've created, you have to. That's your own movie. You're gonna wake up late. Your diet is gonna be off. Your energy is gonna be off. Your mindset's gonna be off. But as you start to model that person and imagine you are that person, that badass right now, everything will change. In every single superhero movie, the villain is winning 80% of the movie. So you're going to lose in the beginning. You're going to get your ass kicked and kicked and kicked until you finally turn the tide and you start to win. And when you do that, every day it's you versus you. It's you versus who you could be. It's your current life versus your dream life. If for 100 days you perform at your absolute best and you're as productive as you can be, you have reached the pin, like you have reached the top 1% of the 1%. Now what you have to do is continue that for long enough to be able to cement it and reach the God tier. Again, to reach the God tier, you have to be beating your villain for 2 to 3 years straight. Your villain is so far behind at that point, he's your bitch, and you've reached full transcendence. This is where anything becomes possible. Working 12 hours a day uninterrupted is nothing. It's child's play. You are that guy. So guys, here are the action steps. Number one, you want to create a tracker for this game, whether it's on your whiteboard, on your Excel sheet. You want to make this game your number one life priority. Am I beating my villain every single day? Again, you want to have it somewhere where you can see it every single day. You want to bookmark it, you want to save it, you want to have it right in front of your face. Who is winning the day? And what is a tracker? Like what is a scorecard? When you see basketball, when you see football, there's a score. Who is winning? 95 to 85, like the Houston Rockets are winning, whatever. You want to track who's winning. Is it your villain or is it you? And here is what's going to happen. If you start to beat your villain and you have more points than your villain, your business is going to thrive. And not only that, but you are going to feel so happy and so fulfilled and so powerful that it's going to give you so much momentum. Now, if your villain is kicking your ass, you're going to feel defeated. You're going to feel down. You're going to feel depressed. And you should, because you're losing the competition. This is what is going to drive you to be the best version of you. If you watch a movie, Batman, where his parents die, all this crazy stuff happens, the beginning of the movie is not like in the beginning of most hero's journey type of movies. The beginning is not happy. The beginning is not triumphant. The beginning is the complete opposite. So in the beginning, you're gonna get your ass kicked and you're gonna feel bad. And if it's 15-1, your villain is just destroying you and you're not even holding a candle to it, you're gonna feel like shit, and you should. That's why we have our accountability service. As soon as you start to turn the fucking tide and you start to become that version of you, you're gonna feel powerful. You're gonna feel proud. You're gonna feel amazing, and your business, the results in your company are gonna explode. That's super important. You want to make this your number one life priority. Again, here's the new self daily doc, which I've covered it in a ton of other videos. But again, the routine, the habits, everything you want to write down in this document right here, and you want to write down a sentence summary of what this person looks like, what are their habits, and I want to attach the new character worksheet from Sam Evans below. So you can start to become this person and calibrate your consciousness to model them in the morning. Think like they think, walk like they walk, talk like they talk, imagine their beliefs. And then you continue to refine, progress, and Kaizen. You want to do this for 60 days, right? Because if you can do it for 60 days, guys, it's hard. I mean, it's hard to create a new habit. It's hard to create a new routine. How many books are published every single day on creating habits? We all know the importance of habits, but it's hard to do them. You want to create the system. You want to create the system and then let the system create you. Create the system and let the system create your dream life. Okay. Number 4, have a powerful accountability system to make sure that you're actually winning the game, or at the very least, you're tracking the game. Okay. Again, that's what our accountability system allows you to do. You can hire, again, like an employee or try to track it yourself, but it's hard. You will fail. But you can try your best because this is worth it. This is worth every single. There's nothing more important than this, guys. Like whatever goal that you have, if you can consistently match and beat your villain and track the game and get to 100, you've won. You've won the game of life. I just can't emphasize that enough. Guys, that's going to start to wrap up the video. You should have ended this video more productive than you started. If this was helpful, guys, feel free to leave me a comment below. I'm the type of person that never, ever, ever leaves YouTube comments. Like I've left one comment in the past 10 years. It's not that guy. But if you can leave a one sentence comment, I'd really appreciate it. Or at the very least, give me a like. That way the algorithm sends you more of my videos and stuff like that. But either way, the difference between you and every entrepreneur is multiplied by the business model and market that you're in. The business model and the market is really important, but if you master this, it almost becomes irrelevant. And that's what I want to emphasize in this video. This is what separates you from your dream life. Being the absolute best version of you that you know your soul deep down could be. And which entrepreneur do you want to be? There will always be that God tier, that you could reach and you could be. Until you reach it, there will always be another level of life to unlock. Until you reach God tier, there's always going to be another level of power, of fame, of success, of money, of wealth, of abundance, prosperity, family, freedom, whatever motivates, whatever drives you. Until you reach God tier, there's going to be another level that you can't unlock. So guys, take the action, make the changes, and wake up tomorrow being that new version of yourself.